Alcohol. How'd you quit drinking?
The demons don't have control over me. I have control over them.
Recovery is the reason I get to do everything else in life that I get to do.
You talk negativity. You talk, I can't, I won't, I'll fail. That's what you're going to get.
The important thing is what you feed your mind.
I came home, I had a gallon of whiskey.
Words is, are you okay?
Thank you.
And that is so powerful. I mean, it is.
The human species is the only species that doesn't wake up daily to strive to reach their full potential.
Welcome to Tru Flows Podcast. We have Bradley Sparks here from OKC, Barbor/content creator. Man, this guy's great. If you've not seen him, you got to check him out. It's a must. I'm excited about this. Bradley, how's everything going, man? How was your flight?
I mean, it was good. What's crazy is when I first got there, I actually missed my flight by 5 minutes.
He missed his flight. We didn't miss ours.
Some bitch had us waiting at the Lexington airport for 5 hours.
I don't remember you saying you was even going to bring them.
Honestly, bro, I didn't want to. Well, hell, I definitely didn't want to.
Actually, I'm just here for the bourbon.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, it's fine, man. How you like Kentucky so far?
Man, I'm loving Kentucky. I mean, it's actually a beautiful state. I don't know why it gets such a bad rap. Like, I was just in Louisville and
It's actually called Louisville.
some bitch give me the alcohol. It's pronounced Louisville.
Chase is actually right. It is Louisville.
Fair enough.
So anyways, let's just jump into your story. I mean, you okay?
All right. Look, y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta get out.
Bro, like, are they always like that?
Man, I deal with this every day, bro. Like,
That's crazy.
yeah,
like,
it don't stop.
I mean, because, yeah. I mean, because it's almost like you have to deal with kids to an extent, and I deal with a lot of workers, so I kind of understand that. So it's kind of like,
They are children. They're children.
but yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Yes. Well, so do you enjoy having to tote them around and, watch them and make sure one's not running off or saying something stupid or?
Sometimes they come in handy, but most of the time, no, I don't enjoy it. I'm 90% of the time frustrated.
Okay, well, so basically, what we were trying to get was trying to be serious here and try to get to your testimony.
Yes,
so,
yes, that's the important part,
and that's the important part here. But so, anyways, if anyone already don't know, this is Bradley Sparks, content creator, great content creator. Been doing it how long?
3 years on February 11th.
3 years. Started with Trap Masters, and if you want to, you can get into that a little bit because I know a lot of people are probably wanting to know, what I'm saying, like why you went from Trap Masters, and which, going by yourself, my opinion, was a good thing for you, and I bet you a lot of people actually think the same too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, we're basically here to talk about your testimony and kind of dip into that because you spent a little time and you had some addiction, and all that. But yeah, again, like I said, we do want to know everything we can know about you. So I mean, wherever you want to start, man.
So my name is Bradley Sparks. They call me Nemo, and I celebrated 8 years clean and sober from all mood and mind altering substances on November 18th of 2017. November 18th of last year. So November 18th of 2017 is my clean date. And I don't, I get a lot of people saying, why do you make recovery your whole personality? And I really hate comments like that because recovery is the reason I get to do everything else in life that I get to do. Recovery is the reason I have a beautiful family today. Recovery is the reason why I make great money today, other than how I used to live. Recovery is the reason I get to wake up and not wonder where I'm going to get my next substance from. So it's not my whole personality, but it is what allows me to be the real me. And a little bit about me is I grew up in Oklahoma City, on the south side of Oklahoma City, and to a single alcoholic mom. And for the longest, when I remember as a kid, was my mom was always in and out of the house. She worked as a bartender, and she would literally leave, say, "Hey, son, I'm going out for a drink," whatever boyfriend she had at that time.
And that's tough.
It is. But as a 12, 13-year-old kid, it's actually, fun.
Well, yeah, because you get to do what you want.
Yeah, she's not gonna be home for
that's true,
2 or 3 days.
That's true, yeah.
But
when
back,
you look back at it,
I see how dysfunctional it was, and then I also see how it played a part into my choices later on in life.
Yeah.
But my dad wasn't in the picture because he got locked up in prison when I was 2, and he was locked up from 87 to 98. So about 11 years. And when he got out when I was 13, I seen him one time. And then I seen him another time at like 18. And then after that, we didn't reunite until I was 34. Till I was about...
Man, I feel you on that.
Till I was about 2 years into my sobriety did we reunite. But I don't want to go too far, fast forward into the...
No, you're cool. Yeah.
But so basically, I grew up on the south side of Oklahoma City, and when I look back on it, my first thing that I was, I think I was born with alcoholism, addiction, because, and people debate this, but I do anything alcoholically. It don't matter what it is. It could be something bad, something good. Whatever I do, I have that obsession of the mind. And well, it started with cigarettes for me. At 10 years old, I was sneaking Marlboro Red shorts in the box out of my mom's purse, and I would
we all did that.
And and I loved taking that drag, and I loved inhaling it and getting that buzz. Man,
that's the crazy thing.
And at 10 years old and 11 years old, I lived for that buzz. I'm not lying. Anywhere I went, I'd be hanging out with my friends. We'd be riding bicycles, and I would look for snipes on the ground because I
just to get that buzz.
Just to get that buzz.
Yeah.
So I believe I had this way
back,
before I ever took my first hit or first drink. And so fast forward to 1998, and I do have a little brother and a little sister on my mom's side, but they were taken by their dad because of my mom's drinking. She lost them in custody. But, I mean, I'd still get to see them every now and then. But for the most part, it was me and my mother and then whatever boyfriend she had, Yeah. And God rest my mom's soul. I'm not going to bash her, but I am going to speak the truth.
Right.
So in 1998, she decided she wanted to quit drinking. It was June of 98. I was 2 months before my 13th birthday. And we were living in my friend's house. We were sleeping in his bedroom. He was sleeping on the couch. And his mom was letting us stay there. And
you and your mom?
Me and my mom were sharing the bed in my friend's bedroom. That's hard. And we had lost everything because of her drinking and her choices. Yeah. And that's where I think she finally hit her rock bottom. And she called my aunt, which I call my Aunt Nana. It's her little sister. Mm-hmm. She called her up and said, I'm ready. And my aunt already knew what that meant because my aunt had been trying to get her to quit for a while, Right. And my Nana and my Uncle Mark showed up in a 91 Dodge Colt hatchback. And we were able to fit everything we owned in the back of that hatchback. Yeah. And he was even able to put my bicycle back there. Crazy. That's how little of the amount of stuff we had. Yeah. And she drove us out, and we moved to Adair, Oklahoma, a little country small town in Oklahoma. And my aunt gave us her spare bedroom, and we had 2 twin beds in there. My mom was on this side of the wall with a twin bed, and I was on the other side. And I started going to school. She started working recovery. She would come home every night. She had this blue book. I didn't know it at the time, but it was Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't know that, but she would read her blue book, go to bed, wake up, go to work, come home, do the same thing. And then I started noticing how her personality was changing for the better.
Right.
It was like I got my mom back, you know. And things started getting better. She got her license back. She got a car. She bought a freaking station wagon
That's
car.
awesome, bro.
And I was going to, mind you, I grew up in Oklahoma City, so I grew up in a city where the schools were, it was kind of like hood, you know. And then I went from that to a country school to where it was kindergarten through 12th, and they were given SWAT still. They were still doing corporal punishment. So it was really,
I remember that.
It was a culture shock for me, you know? And shout out to the millennials and the Gen X's. If you grew up in a small town, you know what corporal punishment is.
You already know, yeah.
And that's
paddles in school.
Straight up. And so that's what, you know, it was a culture shock for me. And they would call me wigger. You know, I was the little white kid that tried to act black, but it was like how I grew up in the city.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And now I'm around all these kids who are cowboy hats and boots, and now I'm learning a different culture, right? My mom she's working at a loan office, and one of her high school sweethearts shows up to get a loan, and he asks her out on a date. You know, like they kind of reunited.
Yeah.
6 months later, we moved in with him. So in my 7th grade year, I think we'd only been at my aunt's about 6 months. We moved in with who would become my stepdad.
Yeah.
And he had 2 sons of his own, Ricky and Chris, and they were my stepbrothers. And for the first time in my life, I had a stable home. It was kind of looking like a family, you know, and I was liking that.
How old was you?
I was 13 at that time.
Yeah.
I was almost 14. And 7th grade, it was like the summer in between 7th and 8th grade. And I had my own bedroom, you know, little things like that I didn't have growing up ever. And my mom ended up getting my custody of my little brother and sister, so they moved in with us, and I was able to reunite with them again.
Yeah.
And things were looking good, you know. And my mom had carpal tunnel surgery on her hand. And then I started noticing she was starting to act like she would act whenever she would drink. Oh. And well, come to find out, she was on pain pills, and she had become addicted to pain pills.
Oh my God, dude!
And I didn't know much about that, but I knew that I'd kind of lost my mom again. You know,
I know, and I hate that.
So the first time I ever smoked a joint, it was well, not the first time, but the first time I ever started really smoking, I was about 14. It was right around the time my mom started getting addicted to pain pills, and it just started off like that, you know. And then right around but that's all I did, you know. I would only do it like on weekends at the friend's house,
right,
you know,
hanging out, partying,
yeah. And honestly, I'm probably gonna get some flack for this, but I don't even like marijuana. Like it makes me paranoid, you know.
Yeah.
I always had to have.
Well, that's because you got older. Same with me.
I always had to have something else with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I could smoke weed if I was drinking, you know, or smoke weed if I was high on meth or whatever. But to just smoke weed, it never was for me because I have ADHD and I overthink shit, and that just fucking magnifies it to the, you know. But it's crazy. I ended up my 10th grade year. My mom and stepdad split up, and we moved into a 2-bedroom trailer in a town called Claremore, Oklahoma. It's about 15 miles from the town we were living in, Foyle. And so now I'm switching schools from Foyle to Claremore, which is a bigger school, and my mom's we're back in a trailer, 2-bedroom trailer. My mom and sister are sharing a room, and me and my brother are sharing a room, and we're back to kind of being, you know, poor again. And my brother was ADHD, and he'd get prescribed Adderall, and I noticed that I could go to school and I could sell these Adderall, and so I would literally take the capsules of the Adderall, and I would take the little beads out and put them in different capsules, and then just put his back in there. And,
oh my God!
And I would go and sell them. And the first time I ever took an Adderall, a buddy of mine that I was selling them to was like, bro, have you never done these? And I was like, no. And he's like, so he bought one for me off of me. He bought it from me and then gave me it.
Oh my god!
And bro, I did all
It
my
ruined you.
Yeah, I did all my homework that day. I went and I couldn't sleep that night, but man, I felt so good. And so then I started getting addicted to speed. And so it went from marijuana to Adderall. And then I started finding my mom's little, I don't know if you remember them little bird egg diet pills.
Mm-hmm.
My mom would get prescribed those.
I remember people used to.
And I would take those out of her purse and I would start doing those. And I could smoke weed as long as I was speeding. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it kind of leveled me out.
Neutral, yeah.
Yeah. And what did it for me, though, was we moved back in with my stepdad. And I had been sick. I was a junior in high school, and I'd been sick that whole year. I mean, not the whole week. And I'd missed a whole week of school. And my mom came in and was like, and I had all this homework that was backed up that I had to get done. And my mom came in and was like, here, take this. And she gave me a 7.5 lower tab, 7.5 lower tab. I took that 7 point, but it was like a mom giving you an aspirin or a Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just took it. It was like, okay, mom says it'll make me feel better. Bam. As soon as it kicked in, bro, it was like the best way I can describe it. It was like, whew. I know. It was like everything that I had, every time that I had felt like not a part of this world, or like I had felt like an outcast, or all the anxiety, all the pent up, whatever, was gone.
The devil it
was gone.
Came right in.
And I wanted to feel that forever.
Yeah.
So that was at the age of 17, and that started my opiate journey. And I did fuck the speed, fuck the weed. Yeah. I found my true love. This.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. I started sneaking pills out of my mom's purse, and then she caught on, and she's an addict too. So she's
well, yeah, she probably caught on that quick.
Yeah, she really quick. You're not taking you're not taking my stuff, So and it got bad. It got to where I would go pick up a prescription for her from the pharmacy, and I would take the little staple out, open it, take a couple out, boom, and then restaple. I kept a stapler in my car to restaple her prescription.
Yeah.
And then it got to where, you can only steal so many of your mother's pills. So I got friends that do it too, and they know where to get them off the streets.
Right.
And this is back in 2002, between 2002 and 2004. And I'm really just like, the DEA wasn't as bad as it was now. Like, people could get pain pills really easy back then.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
This was like Oxycontin had just hit.
Oh, yeah. Everything. Yeah.
And I was getting the OC green 80s for like $20 on the streets. Yeah. And the first time I was ever introduced to the needle was at the age of 19. Mm. And well, no, it was 18. I was still a senior in high school, and I was buying OC 80s off this old man, and he was getting prescribed them. I think he had cancer or something, or he got all kinds of pills. And he told me, he's like, I'll tell you a good way to do it. And he showed me how to draw it up, bam, everything about it and the whole process. And I went home and I did that, and man, I didn't want to do it any other way after that.
Right. It was over.
And at this time I was dating one of my, it wasn't my high school sweetheart, but it was like the girl after her. And she was a couple grades below me. Like, I think she was a sophomore when I was a senior, and she so I had just finished my senior year, and I was living at home, and I was withdrawing. And I didn't really know much about withdrawals. I just knew whenever I didn't have my pain pills, I felt, it wasn't good. And I was really dope sick, and I was taking anything I could that day to just get it to subside. Like, I found some Somas off someone, and I took those. I took some Xanax. I went to this party that night and took a shot of tequila, and and I went back home. So I'm on all these different like muscle relaxers and benzodiazepines and
Golly.
just to get the and it didn't help at all. Like the whiskey, or I mean the tequila, and then I went home and me and my girlfriend were gonna lay down to watch a movie, and she said that I went into the closet and I reached up to pull the string to turn the closet light off, and before I even grabbed this string, I just fell over and immediately started turning blue. I didn't convulse or nothing. I was just like I fell over dead. We live in the country. We're living in Foyle, and it's literally 15 miles to the nearest hospital. So my mom runs in there and she's screaming, "Call the cops! Call an ambulance!" Well, the sheriff gets there before the ambulance does because we live in the country.
Right.
And he's trying to do CPR on me, and he keeps pumping my chest, but he won't like give me mouth to mouth. And my mom fucking throws a cup at him and tells him, "You're gonna kill my son." And then she gets down there and starts pumping my chest and giving me mouth to mouth. And she got me to where I like coughed up and foamed up some shit. And they were able to. By the time the ambulance got there, they took me to the nearest softball field at the school, and they life flighted me to Tulsa. Now, mind you, I'm 19 years old, and I'm laying in the hospital, and the doctor, now this was told to me afterwards, but the doctor had come up to my mom and my aunt, and they said, "Your son probably won't make it, but if he does, he will be a vegetable." And that was the diagnosis. So
that's crazy.
They freaked out. My mom just, she lost her son. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a day and a half later, I woke up out of the coma, and I look to my left and I see my sister, and I look to my right and I see my girlfriend, and then I see all these tubes and shit, and I freak out. I don't know where I'm at, you know?
Yeah,
the last thing I know, I was trying to turn off a closet light. So I start freaking out, and I'm pulling everything off of me, IVs out. The thing that goes all the way down in your throat, I'm pulling that out of my mouth. And then I stand up and I see this catheter. I don't know what a catheter is. And I fucking yank that off. Boom. And I hear this pop. And immediately I start pissing blood. Blood just starts squirting out of my dick. Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to get too vulgar there.
Oh, my God.
I'm not trying to get too vulgar there.
No,
but,
you're good, bro.
The nurses run in and they're
oh,
like,
my gosh.
The nurses run in and they're like, "He's trying to kill himself again."
What the
like I didn't try to kill myself the first time, but I just took a little more than I could handle, and I wasn't trying to kill myself at the hospital. I was just freaking out. So they get all my family members out of the hospital, and they're like, my family members cannot have contact with me because I'm on suicide watch now, and I'm
what the heck? Because of that?
Yeah, and I'm 19, so I'm an adult. So there's nothing my parents can do.
Right.
Nothing they can do. So they lock me up in a room, and they have 3 nurses watching me 8-hour shifts. And so I sit there and I withdraw, and then they put another catheter in me, and I was pissing blood the whole time. So it was like, it was piss, but it was like dark red piss, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they kept saying that they were going to send me to, I'm at St. Francis in Tulsa, and they keep telling me that I'm going to go next door to the mental hospital called Laureate. And they keep telling me as soon as they can take this catheter out, I'm going to the mental hospital.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, not only am I dope sick, but I'm missing my family, my girlfriend. They're not letting me have any contact with them. And now I'm labeled as fucking crazy.
Right.
And all I want to do is be out of there.
Right.
And so about 5 days later, after laying in bed, fucking just detoxing and pissing blood, there was this lady nurse that worked the night shift, the second shift, and she was real sweet, and she would sit there and just read her book, and ask me how I was doing, and she was a really motherly type, and I had this idea that I'm gonna escape, and all I can see is the door, and it's got a square at the door, and but whenever I had to go take a shit, they would let me go to the bathroom by myself. So my idea was I was going to go to the bathroom, unscrew the IVs, don't take the catheter out that way again, but I was going to unscrew the bag to where the thing was still hanging, you know, out of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how I was going to get the catheter out once I escaped, but I would figure it out. I just knew I wanted to be out of that hospital.
Right.
So I go to the bathroom, I unscrew the catheter, I unscrew the IV, and then I'm holding on to the IV, the little thing that rolls with you.
Yeah.
And I walk, and all I got is a gown on. Like you can see my ass, you know, the whole back, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I walk out the front, and then I walk around to the door, and she's like, "What are you doing, sweetheart?" I was like, "I just want to see something other than what I've been seeing for the past 5 days. You know, I just want to." So I kind of looked like I was looking out the window at the you know other nurses. And as soon as she looked back down at her book, I fucking opened that door and I booked it.
Gone.
And I don't know what floor I'm on. I don't know where the exits are. I don't know where I'm going. All I know is I'm looking at exit signs and I start hitting them. Bam.
Right.
I hit the nearest staircase and bam, I go down, drop down all the way down. And then I start hearing sirens. And I hit that because I got to the first floor and I start hearing sirens. And I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh shit, they already called the cops. But I remembered I'm at the hospital.
You're at the hospital.
Of course I'm hearing sirens.
Right. That's awesome.
So I take off, bro, and I take off running. And I know if my viewers are from Oklahoma or they're from Tulsa, I might get this street wrong, but I think it's 61st and Yale, but I'm on 61st. It might be 61st and something.
Yeah.
And I'm on a 61st and I'm running. And mind you, this is a busy ass street in Tulsa. And all I got is a gown on, and that's it. You know, and I got this catheter cord just bouncing off my thighs, and then and I'm just boom
trucking it.
And I've been laying in bed for 5 days, so my legs are like noodles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I'm running fast, but I probably wasn't. So and this is 2004. Not cell phones. Cell phones were around, but
but it wasn't.
It wasn't
big.
like it is.
You didn't
today.
have one. Yeah. You didn't.
Today, everyone got it attached to their hip.
Yeah.
So I start hitting, and I'm like, I got to get off this main road. So I start hitting fences. Bam, bam, bam. And I came up to this really nice house. I was in a nice neighborhood, and I come up to this really nice house. Maybe it was the only one that had a porch light. I don't know. But I come up to it, and I knock on the door. Something just told me knock on this door. And I knock on the door, and this lady, she opens the door, and she's like, you know, and she's like, first thing she asked me, she goes, "Did you escape from the mental hospital?"
Oh my God.
I was like, look, I know this looks bad, but I said, all I want is, can I use your phone to call my mom? That's all I need. And she was like, so she goes back and gets her cordless phone. Do y'all remember cordless phones?
Yeah, oh yeah.
She goes back and gets her cordless phone, and she had teenage sons, and she got me a pair of jean shorts and a white tee.
Hooked you up.
And so I was able to put the jean shorts on, the white tee, and I walked barefoot to the nearest store after calling my mom, and she said she was going to meet me at this store, so I walked to that store.
That disguised you right there.
My mom picks me up. She had a nurse friend. I'm not going to say her name, but
no, you're good.
I went to her house, and she took the catheter out properly. And I still continued to have piss like remnants of blood for a couple months. I don't know if I should have got surgery. I mean, everything works down there, y'all, but I guess it just healed up on its own, you know?
Right.
I haven't had any problems, you know, so thank God, because I've heard some horror stories about people ripping them out. Bro.
Yeah.
Like bad horror stories.
Oh, man, you got lucky, yeah.
So she takes the catheter out properly, and my mom takes me home where my girlfriend's waiting on me, and the very first thing I do is take the exact same drugs that put me in the hospital. Man. And you talk about insanity, bro. You know, they talk about how insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Right.
I was truly insane. I mean, the very thing that almost killed me, I ran back to.
Right, too.
Who does that?
That's crazy. Well, I mean, that's
an addict does that.
Well, that's the crazy thing about it.
That's what separates an addict or an alcoholic from a non-addict and an alcoholic. You know, someone who can just take a drink or two.
But I think that's the devil himself, man.
Of course it is.
Tough,
of course
man.
it is. And he comes in all forms. He comes in all forms, bro.
Yeah.
I end up moving. the cops were looking for me. I guess they were calling my mom and asking her, where's your son? And my mom was like, well, whenever I called the hospital for him, y'all was telling me there is no Bradley Sparks there, because that's what they would tell her. She's like, I don't know where he's at. And I ended up going to Oklahoma City and kind of hiding out for a little bit.
Right.
They didn't put a warrant out for me, but they were looking for me, you know,
Right.
like as a well-being check.
Yeah.
Until everything cooled down. And, you know, it wasn't much longer that me and my girlfriend had split up. And my addiction just got way worse. And I went down the whole, you know, methadone. I went down the methadone route. I tried that because my mom had gotten on it. And the way they presented it was like, you can take one dose a day and you're sober, you know? And I bought into that lie.
Right.
Like, if I take this dose of methadone a day, sure, I won't want to take anything else. But that's because methadone's so fucking strong, you know?
Right.
Of course I don't want to do anything else, you know?
Right,
Like, that shit had me nodding out, like, literally.
Yeah.
And so I went down that whole route. And, you know, now I'm 20, 21, and I'm living with my mom still. And by this time, my sister had moved in with her stepmom. She's living back in the city. And now me and my mom are staying in Tulsa. And my little brother was staying with us too.
Yeah.
And my whole routine was I would get up at 4 a.m., go to the methadone clinic, wait in line, get my dose, and then come home and fucking nod out to old movies.
Yeah.
At 21, that was my life.
Right.
And like, and I just depended on my mom to support me, you know? It's so pathetic.
Yeah.
Well, at this time, I'd caught some charges. You know, what did I steal in a car? You know, I would black out on Xanax, and something about me with blacking on Xanax is I like to steal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a lot of people.
It is, and I don't know what it is. I guess it's because it's an anxiety medication.
It's weird.
You take they take freaking Xanax and they just think they're invincible, you know.
Like I said, I think it's the devil himself, because once you take that, it's like now you're going and stealing and doing all this.
Yeah, you're being taken over.
You're being taken over. Yeah, right. So that's why I say that. That's
you're
what I'm saying.
blacking
Like,
out.
And Xanax, I've known so many people that they get on Xanax and it's like that's what they do, they steal.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm that guy. I have four grand larceny of motor vehicle charges, and every one of them are because I was blacked on Xanax. I'm not no car thief, but for some reason, every time I do Xanax, I would want to steal a car.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right.
So I had caught in some charges like that, you know, and I was fighting them in court. And also I had gotten a possession of marijuana, and I was on probation for that, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to go to court. I have this lawyer, and I have to go to court for these charges, and I'm on methadone, and I end up going to court, and they tell me that they're going to revoke my bond. They tell me as I enter the courtroom that, hey, your bond's getting revoked today because you've been out on bond for longer than a year. And I guess if you've been out on bond for longer than a year, you're supposed to pay yearly premiums or some shit.
Right.
I didn't know that, didn't pay the premium, whatever. And they were revoking my bond. And the thing that went through my head was, I'm going to be sick.
You're going to jail today.
From methadone. Yeah, if I go back. And I didn't have no money to bond out. So they go to block the door because they thought I was going to try to leave, and I was. And I end up standing up, and I look back and I see the guy by the door, but he wasn't looking at me, and I just took off. Boom. Bust through the double doors at court. Same scenario. I'm hitting the stairs, and
that's awesome.
And I'm getting chased by the court bailiffs, you know, and the guards or whatever. And in Claremore, it's a courthouse, and then behind the courthouse is the jail. My dumbass ran out of the courthouse and ran towards the jail.
Oh my God.
And I immediately get chased down or met up by other cops, and they pepper spray the shit out of me. and I fall to the ground because of the pepper spray and go to jail. And now I'm 20, I'm 21 at this time, 22, something like that, 22. And I experienced methadone withdrawal for the first time. But I think I'd spent like 45 days in jail that time. But at 22, when you're coming off methadone, 45 days, and when you're at that young of an age, seems so long, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I had no experience with being locked up before that.
Right.
So I go to jail, and what I did get to experience, though, was being sober. And after about week 3, I was starting to feel again, you know, because that shit numbs you. And this is why I'm so against MAT, medicated assisted treatment. I don't care if it's Suboxone, methadone. And I get a lot of shit for it because I talk about it in my content about being against it. But it takes a person's soul. I don't care who you're going to argue with. If a person on methadone or Suboxone is truly honest, you don't have your soul. You are numb to the world.
Yes.
You don't feel no joy, you don't feel no pain.
Right.
You know, if you laugh, it's a forced laugh, I promise.
Yes.
And I'm so against it. And I hate what doctors do, that they get these people on it and they want them to stay on it for life.
Yeah.
So they're a slave to this drug for life. And they never get to experience the full freedom of recovery. And I hate it. So I'm 3 weeks in of this detox off methadone, and I'm starting to experience the full
recovery.
I gotta piss.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break.
So I ended up doing 45 days in Rogers County Jail, and I'm pretty much fully detoxed off of, well, maybe it was about 2 months actually that I did, you know, but that's what it was. It took 45 days for me to fully detox off this methadone.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's done methadone, then y'all know the half-life of it, you know, of why it takes so long to get out of your system. And I loved the feeling of, now I won't say that I can't say that I was in recovery because I wasn't working no program, but I was sober. And I was able to feel joy again, feel pain, you know, cry, laugh.
Yeah.
And it actually, you know, I could feel, man. And that's what I'd been numb off that methadone. And even before that on opiates for so long that I didn't, for the 5 years, you know, from 17 to 22. Yeah. And so I didn't want to move back in with my mom. But at that time, me and my mom would become, it wasn't like a mother-son relationship. It was like a drug buddy relationship, you know. And we were, it wasn't healthy. And I knew that when I got out of jail, I was going to move in with my aunt and uncle. The same aunt and uncle that had picked us up, you know, in 98.
Right, the ones that you,
And I didn't, but I knew it was going to break my mom's heart that I was moving out. But I knew I had to do.
Right.
And I was 22, man. It's time to move out of mama's house, you know?
Yeah.
So I move into my aunt and uncle's, and I get a job at a convenience store called the Woodshed, and I'm sober. You know, I go to work. I come home to my aunt's house, and we make a plan. I was only on like 2 years probation, and I had very little fines to pay. And we make a plan of how we're going to, you know, get my fines paid and how I can become an adult and move out on my own eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I end up falling for my manager at the convenience store. And she was the first. She had approached me first and hit on me. And she had we were both the same age, but she had a drinking problem. And she also had a boyfriend and a son, a 2-year-old son, 3-year-old son. And we started hanging out a lot, and she was like, you know, after work, and we would drink together, and basically she was cheating on her boyfriend with me, and eventually she ended up moving out of her boyfriend's house and moving in with her friend, and then I moved out of my aunt and uncle's house into her friend's house, and we were living together. We had a bedroom together in there, and I realized, like I always said that I didn't got no problem with alcohol, and I realized that it wasn't the drug or the drink that was the problem. It was my need to escape reality.
Yeah.
And
so perfect.
And I did it with alcohol right then. And but she was a beautiful Native American girl, but she was way worse than me. And she would get drunk and she would get mean.
Oh man.
And so basically our whole relationship was fighting.
Yeah.
And it ended because we'd gotten to like a quote unquote domestic, and you know, I'd had enough. I was like, I'm done. I'm moving back to Oklahoma City. So I moved back to Oklahoma City, and now I'm dibbling and dabbling back in pills. And slowly but surely, I find myself on methadone again. And I end up.
Now you went back to mom's house?
I went back to mom's, and now she's living in Oklahoma City, not Tulsa, and back into an apartment with her. And but I'm back on methadone again. We're back at the methadone clinic, and but I'm also taking Xanax and doing other drugs too, because methadone just kept me from being sick. It didn't really get me high, you know?
Yeah.
So my little brother, he was 18 at that time, and he had gotten into it with these Crips in this apartment that I lived in. And I had this fucking old rifle. I don't remember where I got it. And I don't know if he was getting into it.
That's real Crips down that way too, you know, thinking I'm just
and they had
sliding that in
and,
there. You know what I'm
and I
saying?
went out to the parking lot and I just shot that rifle in the air, you know, get him away from him. And the security guard of the apartments came up from behind me and busted me in the back of the head, and the gun dropped and flew under the car. I get arrested. Thank God I got arrested for illegal discharge of a firearm and public intox because I was fucked up.
Yeah.
And but I didn't want to go to jail, so I told them I was my little brother. I gave him my little brother's name. And this is no lie, bro. This is I was 24, so I looked 17 at that time. You know what I'm saying? And I went to juvenile at 24 and
oh my God,
played like I was my little brother for like 3 days. I did this, and eventually, like after my first like juvenile court date, I came clean with one of the guards of who I really was, and they shipped me to Oklahoma County jail, and I had pissed the judge off so bad. Now, usually they would just give you like an obstruction charge for, you know, saying that you're somebody else.
Yeah.
They gave me falsely impersonating a felony instead of a misdemeanor.
Oh my God.
Because I had pissed the judge off so bad that I took it through that far. Just because I didn't want to go to jail, you know what I'm saying? I thought if I gave them my brother's name, they'd just let me go with a ticket. No, they took me to juvenile. And
oh my God.
yeah, the shit.
You should have stuck with it.
Nah, bro. I felt bad. I felt bad for using his name.
You may have made it out.
And then he would have had a charge. He would have had two charges. I felt bad, you know. So, you know,
at least she was honest, though, man. At least she was honest.
That right there sent me to prison for the first time. And here we go. Dun, dun, dun. This is 2011, and I go to prison for the first time, July of 2011, and I am 25. And again, I sit in Oklahoma County for like 6 months, and Oklahoma County is like one of the worst jails in the U.S. Look it up. It's probably one of the top 10 guaranteed. And sitting 6 months in that sumbitch, you know, I couldn't wait to get to prison. And I get on the bus. I don't know what to expect, you know. First time, 25. Right. I'm young.
Yeah.
And I get to the intake, Lexington A&R, which is excessive. What is this? Something in receiving. Basically, you go there, get your head shaved. They test you for all the diseases, and then they basically see your crime and what you did, and then you go to a certain yard. That determines whether you're going to go to a minimum, medium, or maximum security prison.
Right.
Well, I'm in there for falsely impersonating another, you know. It's like a real low felony crime. And so I go to a drug offenders work camp and show up there to do a program. And then after I finished this program, which was 11 months long, I would get shipped to another yard. Most of the people that go to this yard are court ordered there, and once they finish, they can go home. I was there, and I was going to have to go to another prison after I was done.
Dang.
So I get there, and your first 30 days is called Charlie, and you're basically, it's like military. You're in your camo fatigues, and you're marching. You get up at fucking 4 in the morning.
That's awesome, though.
5 in the morning. You do PT, and then
awesome.
you go eat breakfast, and you PT again. It's always standing at attention, and you got to keep your face shaved.
It's like boot camp.
It is.
Yeah, I've been to boot camp.
And once you finish the first 30 days of that, you can dress into regular prison clothes, and then you're part of the program, the drug program.
Yeah.
And that was the very because of how hard it was to get drugs in that prison. It was so dry. There was no drugs. That was the first time that I had experienced sobriety for a long time, for a full, for a longer, for like 11 months period.
Yeah.
I finished, and I was starting to really find myself during this time. I noticed I was good at I would write funny rap songs and rap them, to all the other inmates and get people laughing,
right?
And I was always making people laugh, and that was, I was really starting to find myself,
Right, yeah.
And I loved the idea that I was sober. I was not on anything, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't working a program. Sure, I was in a drug program, but I wasn't fully surrendered. Like, if drugs had flown over that fence and I'd seen them, I would have done them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But because I had been away from them, I was,
felt good.
So I ended up going to another prison, and after I finished that program, I was on a 5-year sentence, and I had after doing 11 months, you only do a 30-year time in Oklahoma if it's a nonviolent crime. I went over to another yard, and then I dropped down in security. From there, I went to a minimum, and then a work center, and then a halfway house. And basically, your different levels of security. Your work center is you're working for whatever town you're in, and you come to prison. You come home to prison to sleep, go out and work, but you don't get paid.
Yeah.
A halfway house is you go and you can find any job that you can pick the job.
Right.
And then you get to, you come back to the prison, sleep, and you only get 50% of your pay.
Right.
So I end up dropping all the way down in security. And by the time I had gotten to the halfway house, I was fully strung out again.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, bad, so bad that I had, I would say I was going to work. I'd sign out to go to work, and then I wouldn't go to work, and I'd just go get high and run around. Well, that only worked a few times before they finally caught on. And I got the call. My sister called me and said, "Hey, the center's looking for you. They're saying you're going to get an escape charge unless you go up there right now." Mind you, this is only a week before I discharged prison. So I go back up there, and I'm like coming up all these ideas of what I could say, and they're like, "Are you on anything?" And I said, "I'm just smoking weed." The whole that's the answer everybody gives. No, I just smoke weed.
Yeah.
No, I'm just smoking weed. And he's like, "Okay, yeah. Well, if you just fell for weed, I'll let you stay." I piss in this cup, and I fell for everything but cocaine. I fucking burned a hole in the bottom of that cup. They shipped me to the nearest county jail, and they tell me that I'm gonna have to go back up in security, and it was gonna add. I got a Class A write up, and it was gonna add like 4 months to my sentence. Mind you, I'm a week before I discharged.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm sick to my stomach, and now I go and go to this county jail, and I'm detoxing. I go to my writing hearings. And they asked me if I plead guilty, not guilty. And I just told them I was going to plead guilty. Well, they ended up showing mercy to me, bro, and letting me discharge anyway.
Dang.
And the reason why is because my case manager at that time, he was my probation officer when I was on the street on probation. And he had changed jobs. So he was my probation officer, and then whenever I went to prison, he had changed jobs into a case manager, and I just came full circle to where I was his client.
Right.
And he's like, "Man, I know Bradley. I know the real him when he's sober, and I think we should give him a chance. So I ended up discharging January 17th of 2013, first time out of prison, after doing 2.5 years on a 5. And the first thing I do is I move in with my sister, and my idea is that I'm gonna start, I'm gonna go to work and get my life together, Well, it didn't work out that way. I ended up going right back to what I knew, and it started out going to the clubs with friends or whatever, thinking I can just smoke weed, it never worked for me,
Yeah.
Just smoking weed never worked for me. Just drinking on the weekends never worked for me.
Right.
Because I have what they call an obsessive mind. That means once I take one drink or drug, a physical allergy kicks in, and then once that drug, and then I can't stop, and I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I keep going, Yeah. And then once it's taken away from me, I can't stop thinking about it.
Right.
So I'm fully addicted again. And I end up moving out of my sister's early 2014, and I move in with this chick. We moved to Joplin, Missouri, because I'm like, man, my problem's not me. It's where I live. It's my city. If I can get out of this city, I'd be okay. So me and this girl that has a pill habit, let's move to Joplin and everything will be good.
Right.
And that was the worst 6 months of my life. We moved into her grandma's rent house, and we blacked out the windows in the master bedroom of that house, and we just stayed either fighting or fucking. And that's all we did for 6 months. And it was horrible. Shooting up pills, fighting and fucking. That was it.
Yeah.
And eventually I end up going to jail on some fines that I'd owed. And, every time I'd go to jail, I'd get sober again for a little bit, until I'd get out. And I end up sitting out the fines for a little bit. Moved back into my mom's house. By this time, my mom and stepdad had gotten back together. Now I'm 28. Been to prison once. Have nothing to show for it in life. Nothing.
Right.
And I'm living at my mom and stepdad's house. Well, I one night had this idea because I had taken some Klonopins and drank some beer, and I was in a blackout, and I had this idea that I was going to go to my drug dealer's house, steal some dope from him. Okay, this is what when you get arrested, you get a thing called a discovery, and you can read they tell you exactly what you did on this discovery. And so I got all this information from reading my discovery. I was in a blackout. I don't remember this. So evidently I was detoxing off opiates. So I always go to benzos when I can't find any opiates.
Right.
And I black out. I'm in a blackout. Well, evidently I had stolen my neighbor's pink Huffy. I think it was my neighbor's daughter's bicycle. And I'm living in this small country town. Somehow I'm riding around this town with one shoe on and one shoe off. And I stopped by the store, steal some stuff. I don't know what, like I said, when I black out on benzos, I fucking steal. And I steal like a muscle milk and some other weird shit. And then I ride the bicycle, the pink Huffy. Mind you, this is like 1, 2 in the morning. So this town is completely dead at the time.
Right.
And I go over to my drug dealer's house. He's passed out on his couch, and I steal some dope from him and some needles. And then now I'm riding around with this dope, needles, one shoe on this pink Huffy. And then I go to my mom's house because I need a spoon. I want to draw up this dope.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm banging on her door at 3 in the morning.
Over a spoon.
Demanding that she gives me a spoon. And then she goes, Brad, you are fucked up. You need help. And the first thing that came out of it was like, how can you judge me?
Right. Like, who do you?
Yeah. How can you judge me now? And I end up doing that shot of dope. Once I do that shot of speed on top of the benzos and the alcohol, now I'm just fucking, I'm Mission Impossible now. I got to do something. And I go back to my drug dealer's house, and he lived with his dad, and his dad had 2 trucks, and I end up stealing his dad's truck, and then taking off, and he ends up coming out immediately and hops in the other truck and chases me. And we're driving down the road, and he's chasing me, and he ends up getting ahead of me, and he pulls out in front of me, and I hit my brakes, and I came from like me to the wall from hitting him. You know what I'm saying? It was maybe 10 feet from hitting him.
Right.
And I hop out of the truck. He grabs a hold of me. I'm wearing a hoodie, and he pulls the hoodie off of me, and I was able to escape out of there, and I take off running. And I run to this girl's house at that time that I was messing with, and I bust in her door at like 3 in the morning. I'm like, hey, if the cops come, don't tell them I'm here. And I go and I hide in her closet. And it was like 30 minutes. They came and got me out of the closet. And that was my second time on my way to prison. And they gave me a assault and battery with a dangerous weapon charge.
Oh my gosh.
The dangerous weapon being the car, because I had almost hit him. I came 10 feet from hitting him.
Yeah.
And so on my way to prison, I go for a second time. This time I go to prison, and I have as soon as I get there, I get high. I had no plans on getting sober. And I do the exact same thing that I'd done before, you know, and I drop down to security though, every time to the halfway house, and then I discharge. And this time I discharged December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas of 2016. I did another 2.5 years on a 5, and now I'm 31. Yeah, 31. And I was so high and strung out on drugs that I didn't realize I was getting out of prison that day. I'm on my way to Walmart to take back a pair of stolen clippers when my stepdad calls me and says, where the fuck are you at? And you're getting out today. And I'm like, I'm trying to take these clippers back so I can get some money for drugs. I didn't even realize that I was getting out of prison.
That's crazy.
So I end up getting out. I have nowhere to go. Mind you, I'm 31. By this time, I had burnt every bridge.
Yeah.
Sister, mom, stepdad, everybody. Nobody wanted me.
Right.
You know, and rightfully so. You know, they had no reason to. And I go to my aunt's house, same aunt, same Nana that had picked us up in 98, same Nana that I moved in when I was 22. She was like my safe haven, really. Yeah. You know, she was that place that I could go to in the midst of the chaos and everything be normal. And I begged her. I said, Nana, it's the holidays. You know, it's 2 days before Christmas. I said, can I come to your house? I said, and sleep in the spare bedroom during the holidays. And I said, I'll leave. I said, but I do want to warn you that I'm going to be detoxing off heroin, meth, and alcohol.
Right.
Or no, it was heroin, Xanax, and alcohol. And she said, yeah, but you have to leave after the 1st, after, you know, New Year's. So I end up going to her house. And it was a horrible experience. Christmas, all that was horrible. And after about 5 days, I'm starting to. I mean, I still feel like shit.
Yeah.
But I'm on my phone, and I'm scrolling, kind of like interacting with people, you know.
Yeah.
And I come across my high school sweetheart, and I message her, and she messages back, and she says, "What are you doing for New Year's?" And I said, I don't know. She goes, do you want to go to the rodeo nightclub with me? And I was like, yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, we'll take a quick break.
So I go to the club with her, and that night we went to her house. And, you know, I thought, to me, her asking me, I'm 7 days sober, quote unquote. I thought my high school sweetheart, asking me to go to the nightclub with her, I thought, this is God. You know,
right.
This is
awesome.
I have to be out of my aunt's house. Thank you, God.
Right.
But she was married. Her husband was in jail for a drug court violation.
Oh my God.
And all his stuff was still at the house. So this shows you the kind of piece of shit that I was.
Right.
I go to the club with her. we go home, and then I never move out. I move all his stuff out onto the front porch, and I move in. You know,
Right.
And, she had a 2.5-year-old daughter, maybe, 2.5-year-old daughter to almost 3, which is ironic that that's how old my actual daughter is now today. But and I was going to play stepdad, and you know, we were going to build this beautiful life, something we should have finished in high school, and this is my thinking, you know.
Right.
But we weren't the same people we were in high school.
I know.
We were in our 30s. I'm 31. She's barely 32, you know, and we both have pill addictions, you know, and we're not the same people we were in high school.
Right.
So my whole thinking process was still screwed, you know.
Yeah.
So I move in, and I do work. I end up getting a job doing heat and air, and I go from one heat and air job to another, and then I get a job welding for this place called Casico Truck Body. It's called Redding Truck Body now, but back then it was called Casico. And you know, she works, and this was our routine. I would during this time, this was my routine. I would wake up, and by this time I had talked her into getting prescribed Subutex. It's basically Suboxone without the naloxone,
Right.
to where it's you're able to shoot it, snort it, all that stuff you can't do with Suboxone. So they take the naloxone out so that you can do all that with it. So I'm still getting the drug, but not the antagonist.
Right.
And I talk her into getting prescribed on it. That way we can share, and we can also sell some.
Right.
And so my routine at this time was I would wake up in the morning, hungover, and I would chug a 6-point beer. At this time in Oklahoma, you couldn't get 6-point beer other than in the liquor store. Now you can. I always say my first year in recovery, marijuana became legal in Oklahoma, and 6-point beer became everywhere. In my first year in recovery.
That's crazy.
So it was crazy but I ended up, my whole routine was I'd wake up, drink a 6-point beer just to get the headache to go away, the hangover headache, snort half a Subutex, put the other half in my fifth pocket, put a half pint of Southern Comfort 100 proof in my lunch pail, go to work. At lunch, during my breaks, I would swig this Southern Comfort, and then at lunch, I'd snort that other half of Subutex. When I clocked out at 3 p.m., I would go home and I would drink beer until I blacked out. And we'd either fight, whatever, fight or fuck. And it was just a horrible, horrible, toxic relationship. And on Labor Day of 2017, I'll never forget, neither one of us, well, I didn't have to work. I was off. And it was a Monday. And she did have to work, but she didn't work till 2 p.m. She worked a 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift. And what she did, she handed out medication to mental patients. I don't remember where she worked, but that was her job. And I wake up, and mind you, her husband, they're still legally married, but he had moved in with his brother during all this time. He ended up getting out of jail.
Yeah.
And he had a daughter who was like 16 or 17 from a previous marriage. He did. Well, his daughter messages me and tells me that they have been screwing around behind my back this whole time. And then she sends me pictures, of them two proving what she's saying.
Right.
So now,
oh my gosh.
So now I freak out that she's been cheating on me with her husband.
Oh my god.
And I don't know, anger just came over me.
Yeah.
And at this time we were sharing a car, and which is crazy because I didn't have a driver's license or anything, but so I take the keys from the car, I take all the drugs, all the pills, and I tell her, you ain't going fucking nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You're going to explain to me what the fuck's going on. And now I'm just in this, I'm in this blackout, man, this anger blackout, and screaming, yelling. The little girl wakes up. She's seeing me screaming and yelling at her mom. And now I'm still drunk from the night before. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
And my mom had lived 2 blocks away, and she comes over to try to calm me down. And all my ex-girlfriend kept saying was, please give me the keys, Brad. Please just let me leave.
Right.
And I said, you want these keys? And I baseball chunked them at her, and they hit her in the forehead, split her forehead open, and blood just starts gushing out of her forehead.
Oh my gosh, bro.
And immediately I go, oh my God, what have I done? And I did that in front of that little girl. And
oh my gosh.
And that right there
was bottom.
You would think it would be, but no. I let her leave, and I'm just like, please don't call the cops. Please don't call the cops. Because I knew what I did.
You knew it was over.
Yeah, and she didn't. She didn't call the cops. She really just wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And she ended up leaving, and I go into my room and I drink, and the more I drink, the more I kept playing this.
Right.
I kept playing the scenario over my head that this whole time that we've been together, she's been fucking him behind my back, and not thinking about what I did to him.
Right, right.
While he was in jail, what I did to their relationship. No, my selfish piece of shit ass was just thinking, poor me, what she did to me.
Right.
And the more I keep playing this over my head, the bigger it gets. Each time I play it over, I make it worse.
Right.
And now she goes to work. By this time, her head's starting to swell, and it's starting to black her eyes a little bit. The swelling is starting to black her eye, cause her eyes to be black. So not only does it look like I split her forehead open, but it looks like I beat the shit out of her.
Right.
It looks bad. And I go to her job drunk. Now I'm really drunk, and I go to her job, and I start fighting with her even more. Well, her coworkers call the police, rightfully so, and they show up, and they see that her eyes are black, her forehead's split open, and they ask her, what happened to your head? And she still lies to the cops and tells them that I got into a pontoon boat accident with my brother and sister over the weekend and fell off the pontoon boat.
Right.
And made up a lie on the fly, and then
oh my gosh,
they take me to jail for public intox. Well, I had 5 pills in my pocket that I had forgotten about. And when I get in the jail, I get another felony for bringing contraband into a county jail. I end up bonding out because I had the money, to bond out. And I get out. And now, by this time, DHS put a no contact order, made her put a no. Well, no, they put a no contact order where we could not see each other. If we were in contact, she was going to get her daughter taken away.
Yeah.
So I had to move out. And I ended up moving in with someone that I was working with and sleeping on his couch. And I ended up going and sleeping somewhere else. I was just kind of hopping back and forth to anywhere. Now, mind you, I'm getting new charges, and I'm already on probation for when I got out of prison. I got out of prison on probation.
Right.
So not only do I have these new charges that I'm fighting, but I'm also they're about to violate my probation for my old shit. And the only thing that goes through my head is I can go to rehab. If I go to rehab and get the certificate, then everything will be good. The judge will have leniency on me, and I won't go back to prison for a third time. That's all I'm thinking about is I don't want to go back to prison.
Right.
Not that I wanted to get sober. I'm not going to rehab because I want to get sober. I'm going to rehab because I want this fucking piece of paper.
Right.
So I go to rehab, and even with the no contact order, she's still coming every weekend and seeing me and sneaking me pills. She's bringing me some, and I'm telling her, and it's not like she's coming and bringing them to me on her own will. I'm calling, asking her to bring them.
Right.
And so I go and I make it through this rehab, and not sober, obviously, and I get my certificate. Well, like 4 days before I was to graduate rehab, they called me into the office and said, you have a warrant out for your arrest for the probation violation for catching those new charges. And because you have a warrant out for your arrest, you can't stay here at the rehab. But you're only 4 days away, so we're going to go ahead and give you your certificate anyway. So I'm like, hell yeah, that's the only reason I came here. That's the only reason I came in the first place, you know? So they gave me my certificate. I call my bondsman up, and he tells me this is November 10th of 2017. I call my bondsman up, and he's like, meet me at the jail on November 14th, and we'll do a walkthrough, and you can get out, you know. But you're going to have to hide out for 4 days is what he tells me. And so we spend the next 4 days hiding out in motels, and the whole time we're fighting. Same toxic shit, you know.
Right.
Doing pills, fighting, drinking. November 14th rolls around. The night before that, November 14th, we got into a really bad fight in Tulsa, one of the hotels we were staying at Motel 6, like really bad. And that next day, she took me to the courthouse to do this walkthrough. I stopped at the liquor store, bought me a half a pint of Southern Comfort 100 Proof, chugged it on the 10-minute drive from, or 15-minute drive from Catoosa to Claremore, and chugged that bottle of whiskey, met my bondsman, and I'm going to be so transparent right now, guys. Met my bondsman at his office, which is right across the street from the jail. Went into the jail, wrapped up 3 Subutex pills, and then put them where, you know, I can't get caught with them in jail. And I go just in case that, and I knew just in case this walkthrough don't work, at least I'll be in county jail and not be sick, you know?
Right.
So I took 3 pills with me. And sure enough, I do the walkthrough, and they call around to see if I have warrants anywhere else. And sure enough, I have a warrant out of Ottawa County in Miami for another probation, because I was on probation there also. So another probation violation. And they're like, they're going to come get you in 72 hours. So in my head, I'm like, my bondsman's already like, I'm going to meet you up there and get you out of there too, you know? So in my head, I'm like, bet I got these 3 pills. They got 72 hours to come get me. These 3 pills will last me 72 hours. So November 15th, I wake up, snort one of those pills, go back to sleep. November 16th, I wake up, snort one of those pills, you know, hang out a little bit in the county jail, whatever, and go back to sleep. November 17th, I wake up, snort that last pill, and they call me on the intercom, Bradley Sparks bunk and junk, you know, the county's here to get you. Miami from Claremore, Oklahoma is roughly 45-minute drive, and they come get me halfway to Miami. I didn't know it at the time. Well, I get to Miami, get to the booking area. Mind you, I'm ready to get the booking process over with, so I can call the bondsman, I can get out.
Yeah.
The guard comes through, and he's like, well, I got good news and I got bad news. I said, okay, what? He goes, the good news is you made it here. He said, the bad news is Rogers County, where I just came from, put another warrant out for you. They got me for the domestic.
Oh my gosh.
Put a $50,000 bond out on me.
Oh my gosh.
And there was no getting out. I'm already out on 2 or 3 different bonds, and I don't have $50,000 bond. You got to have $5,000 just to bond out. You got to have 10%.
Yeah.
You know, and so I woke up November 18th, completely sober. And I would like to say that I wanted to be, but I didn't. But looking back, that domestic saved my life.
Yeah.
Getting that charge and getting the charge to where I could not bond out ultimately saved my life. I ended up bonding out of that county jail just so they would come get me, and I could go to Rogers.
Get to
Rogers County and
yeah.
You know, because I knew I was going back to prison now.
Right.
I knew there was no getting out.
Right.
And December 19th, I go during this time. She puts a protective order on me, and I end up having to go to protective order court. I go to protective order court a month later, after being sober. November 18th is my sober date. December 19th, I'm in Rogers County going to protective order court. But I'm not worried about that because I'm going back to prison. Like,
Right.
fuck, don't worry about it. Do not care
right.
about this fucking misdemeanor protective order.
Right.
We go in front of the judge. She shows up with her husband. And we go in front of the judge, the two of us. And the judge says, and I tell the judge the truth, we've been in contact this whole time. Like, literally, she was with me the day before I went to jail.
Right.
And he looks over at her and he goes, "Is this true, ma'am? Y'all have a no contact order where y'all ain't supposed to be together. You've been," and she goes, "Yes, but he's not the same whenever he's sober." And he goes, the judge shakes his head. And he goes, "I'm granting this protective order for 30 days and y'all can split the cost." Bam, hit the gavel down there. And that was the last time I seen her.
Dang.
I go back to the cell, and my lawyer came and seen me, and he said that he could run all these new charges with my probation for 5 years and give me another 5-year sentence. And I was just like, where do I sign? At this time I was just defeated. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I signed for the 5 on my way back to prison for a third time, and I go back to my cell, and I'm sitting in the top bunk, and I just remember bawling my eyes out. And I had this Bible open, and I don't remember why I had the Bible open other than I was searching for hope. But, I was completely hopeless. I'm not sitting there saying that I was like, looking for a jailhouse religion or anything. I was just anywhere I could find hope.
Just needed help.
I was looking for it.
Yeah.
And I remember bawling my eyes out, and I looked down at the scripture, and it was on Psalm 34:6, and it said, "This poor man cried out, and the Lord heard him and saved him from all his troubles." And I looked up in the air. My exact prayer was, "God, please take this fucked up life because I don't know what to do with it." And as soon as I said that prayer, I looked around and I realized I was sitting in the same exact bunk that I was sitting in 10 years prior when I was in jail for those 60 days detoxing off methadone.
Man.
I was sitting in the same exact bunk. And I heard the Spirit of God say, "You ain't done yet?" And it shook me to my core.
Oh my gosh.
Shook me to my core. And
amazing.
I realized right then that I wasn't sitting there crying because I was going back to prison. Prison had become normal for me. It'd become a way of life.
Right. Yeah.
Prison was easy.
Right.
I wasn't crying because I had lost everything, the girl, the house, the car, the job. I'd done that multiple times. I was crying because I feel like God was revealing to me the real person I was on the inside, and I was truly disgusted.
That's so awesome.
Truly
bro.
disgusted with who I was. I'm 32 years old, bro, and I have nothing to show for it. I'm a fucking loser. I have no family. Everybody that I went to high school with have careers, families, big houses, nice cars, good reputations, and I'm on my way to prison for a third time, and I have nothing. And I'm a fucking piece of shit human being.
It's crazy, bro.
Who else can save a person like that?
Right.
I couldn't save myself. I tried many times.
It's just it's so perfect what you say, because like it just shows that it almost can't be done without the Lord.
It can't.
I mean,
it can't. And anyone who does get sober, I'm not saying you can't get sober without God.
It's just
something else is going to become your God.
Right.
You might take drugs or alcohol out of your life, but something else is going to become your God that is not fulfilling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
like
so crazy, man.
So yeah, it can't be done without God.
Yeah.
So,
Truly, like completely, and that's what we mean, completely.
Right. And I'm not talking about just getting sober, taking drugs out of my life. I'm talking about having the desire to ever want to use again removed from me.
Right. Because you didn't have that desire. You kept going and going and going and going. And for someone that's listening to that, you know, and going, man, I feel him. Why can't I quit?
Yeah.
How did you quit?
Because you don't have
God.
the power to quit.
Right. God has the power to quit.
You are powerless. And then you know, and that is
That's so
what,
awesome. So awesome.
and that is what.
That's why I do this, man. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
That's why I do this. That's why, because it's so great. Because, man, just for someone, because I know when people hear this, that's what I love. You know what I'm saying? To hear that God's what changed. You know, a person that was living your lifestyle that couldn't quit. Because I've had so many around me that just does that. You know, you remind me of so many around me that, and I'm like, why do you keep doing it? You know,
yeah.
And it's like, because you ain't brought God into your life, and it's just really, I mean, because you're trying to do it on your own, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, I think, and not to get off subject, but I think all of us, you know, as human beings, we go through this life, and ultimately that's what we spend our life seeking.
Yeah.
The whole time we were seeking for God, we were seeking it in worldly things.
I know, it's so crazy, and that's done a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll die before we ever
Yeah, that's true.
truly surrender, or, you know.
No, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I believe I did right that, and you know, I always say there's two kinds of surrendering. There's that moment of surrender. There's that moment that I'm sitting in the cell and I'm saying, God, please take this fucked up life because I don't know what to do with it. And then there's a daily surrender. There's a daily surrender that I wake up and I choose this life.
Right.
You know, this morning I woke up at the hotel and I called you and I said, let's go to the gym, you know, and I'm choosing the habits of recovery on a daily basis. I chose to get on that plane and come to this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, so that every day I still have to die to my old self, because guess what my old self wants to do? It wants to self-destruct. My old self wants to get high. My old self wants to get drunk, blacked out.
But you ain't that. Yeah.
No. Now that I am, and that is what, you know, and the Bible calls it becoming a new creation.
Yes. That person died.
Yeah, straight up. And so AA calls it being reborn. You know, Bible calls it being born again. Whatever it's called, is you are, you know, it's not that you're becoming a better person. You're becoming a new person.
Right. You're not even the same person.
No.
That person's gone.
No, gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is, you know, my moment of surrender was right there on that bunk. And I went to prison for a third time and I didn't care. You know, there's a thing when you truly do let go.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about it in the rooms all day long, but it's only something that can be experienced.
Right.
I let go.
Yeah.
And what that meant to me was I did not give a shit what happened afterwards, as I was going to chase God in recovery, and I did not care about anything else, or I didn't care what yard I was going to, how long I was going to be in prison. I knew that God was in control, and wherever I ended up, that was part of his plan.
Yeah.
That was
awesome, bro. I love it.
That was me surrendering.
That's
I truly trusted
Yeah.
that the power, you know, greater than me was in control.
That's awesome.
And wherever I went, I could see his hand in places, you know. And I get to prison. No, while I'm still in county jail, I'm going to anything I can go to. AA, NA. Anytime they pop them pod doors open and say, you know, y'all want to go? I'm in line going. You know, it could be 50 people in the pod, and I'm one of 3 going. That's it. Well, this guy comes around, and he at the AA meeting, he goes, "Would you like me to bring meetings to the kiosk for you?" And the kiosk is in the pod, and it's on a computer, and basically it's like visiting someone on a computer screen.
Yeah.
And he said, "Do you want me to come read the AA book to you?" I said, "Yeah, man, that'd be awesome." So he hands me this little bitty AA book, and it's just the first 164 pages. He says, "Okay, go back to your cell, read this, and then I'll be there Tuesday." Tuesday rolls around. I'd been reading in this book, and I'm standing there waiting, and someone pops up on the screen, and it's not him. It's someone else, and it's a younger cat. And he goes, "Bradley Sparks?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I said, "No." He goes, "We had Art 2 together in high school, and I'm here to," he goes, "I have 11 months sober, and I'm here to take you through the big book."
Oh my gosh, that's awesome, bro.
That's the beautiful thing about recovery is someone with 11 months was carrying the message to someone with a month.
So crazy.
And here's a guy that I'd been in high school with that I didn't remember, but he remembered me.
Yeah.
And what that showed me was God's hand.
Yeah.
And I could see God's hand in the little things like that.
Yeah.
I go to prison. This time, it's my third time down. And I don't care how many times. Like, if you've been to prison 3 times, I don't care what yard you go to, somebody's going to know who you are.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to see you. Somebody's going to have done time with you, and they're going to know who you are. And as soon as I get off the bus, I'm getting offered all, "Hey, man, you want to hit this? Hey, you want a line? You
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, man, I'm done."
Yeah.
I was truly
That's so
done.
awesome, bro.
And
You actually had the strength.
yeah, and it wasn't my strength. That's
Right,
the key.
I know.
It wasn't my
That's
strength,
what's awesome.
and it's still not my strength.
Yeah.
And I went to anything I could that was recovery. If it was church, I was there. If it was anything to do with God or recovery, I was there.
Yeah.
CA, NA, AA, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I didn't care what it was called. I was there.
Right.
And I dropped down in security, and I go to the work center, and I'm going to an AA meeting at the work center, and this guy, and by this time I have 18 months sober, but I hadn't worked no program. And what I mean by that is I hadn't gotten rid of old resentments and all the things that had kept me going back to drugs. I hadn't gotten rid of those things. Yes, I had the power now from God, but I didn't get rid of all those old resentments, those fears, those insecurities.
Yeah.
I was still carrying those. And I knew that when caught at my weakest moment, I would probably give in if I didn't handle that part of it. So this guy that was bringing meetings into the into this AA meeting, he comes around, and I'm like, "Hey, would you work steps with me?" And I still remember he was chewing his gum, and he goes, "I'll pray about it." And then that next week he took me through the 3rd step prayer. And whenever we got up off our knees after praying the 3rd step prayer, he gave me homework to do. And he says, "I want you to write down every person you resent on one column. I want you to write down what they had done to you on the next column. I want you to write down on the 3rd column what it affects. And then on that 4th column, I want you to write where you play a part in this." And then what that did was it really opened up not what others had done to me, but where was I to play in that role?
Right.
It showed me that I was accountable, and it showed me to stop playing victim and that I am the problem.
Right.
I'm the problem. And we worked step 4, step 5. Basically, step 5 is like confession. It's like confessing your sins. Basically, I'm reading my step 4 over with another person and God, and basically letting it go. Once I let go of all this, it holds no power. And once I speak it no longer holds power over me. And I dropped down to a halfway house, and we're working steps. We work step 6, step 7. And now COVID hits. This is, I want to say, March 24th or something. We get locked down for COVID of 2020. And I have 3 months left on my sentence.
It's crazy. It's been 6 years ago.
Right? I know. I have 3 months left of my sentence at this time. And I'm like, I'm just going to hang out. I'm just going to kick back. We're locked down. I'm supposed to kick back and watch TV for this next 3 months. I'm not going to work any more steps until I get out. I'm going to relax. But thank God for good sponsorship, because my sponsor, the next thing I know is I get this manila envelope in the mail, and inside of it is 23 by 5 cards. And then it's this letter that says, don't think just because you're locked down, we're done doing steps. And he says, I want you to write down on each card, everyone you had harmed, write their name down. And on the other side, the harm done and what you intend to do to pay it back. And that was my amends process. And step 9 is where you start making your amends to people wherever possible. And so I did that, man. I had 3 months to do it, and I did it.
That's awesome.
I get out June 29th of 2020. I discharge, and I'm moving with my sister. And I had this guy telling me that I'd done time with in 2015 that he was opening up these sober houses called Better Together Recovery. He was like, man, I'd really like you to be a part of these sober houses. And I was like, man, my sister's about to let me move in. She's got a spare bedroom. She's going to I have a ride to work, and I'm not going to have to pay no rent to where I could save money.
Right.
So anyway, the more I prayed about it, the more I kept feeling God was telling me to go to these sober houses.
Yeah.
So instead of living rent-free in my own room and having a ride to work, I went to this sober house to where I was a roommate with another man, paying $500 a month, and I didn't have a ride to work. But I trusted, the more I'd prayed about it, the more I trusted that was God's plan for my life. And looking back, it made all the difference in my life today. I mean, I'm sitting here today because of that. I get to do what I do today in life because of that one little choice that I'd made back then. You know, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have stayed sober, but I'm saying that right there, kept me and held me accountable. 2 days after moving into sober living, it was January. Rewind back. A week before that, I had went and made one of my amends, my step 9 amends to my mother. My sister drove me down, and I made my amends to my mother face to face. First time I got to see her as a free man out of prison. And I remember us laughing and crying. And she looked at me and she said, please don't ever change this Brad. I love this Brad.
And she's sober too.
And no, she was still on methadone at this time.
But she's somewhat in her right. I mean,
right. She'd been on methadone for 14 years, so it just become a way of life for her.
Right.
And then that was July 11th. 11 days later, 11 days later, I get the phone call that she had died in a car wreck on her way to go get a gallon of milk. And this is 23 days after I got out of prison. 11 days after making my amends with her. And I am 2.5 years, almost 3 years sober. But if there was any reason or any excuse that I had to relapse, this would have been the one. I could have went out and got high that day when my mom got in her car wreck and or drunk, and nobody would have blamed me. Everybody would have understood why.
Right.
But because I had worked steps and worked that program and gotten rid of all the fears, insecurities, and actually really understood what I had tools in my toolbox to use for when life happens, because just because you get sober, life is still going to happen. You're still going to, people are still going to die. You're still going to lose relationships.
Right.
Life still happens. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
But you never have to drink or use again. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to drink or use over that, And
that's awesome, bro.
I leaned on people in the program. I don't know how many messages I got. This is the beautiful thing about the program. I don't know how many messages I got from people just saying, hey, man, if you need anything, I'm here for you.
Right.
Anything. He's like, I know you don't want to talk right now or message, but if you need anything. And it was just a beautiful thing to have that kind of support, in that time. I get out, man. I go back to the sober house and I continue working my program. I had a job from the time I was at the halfway house, a little waterproofing job. And I went from I was making $10 an hour. and I was paying a guy $30 a week to take me back and forth to work. But it was a guy I worked with, and he was on my way. So he basically I was
made easy 30.
Yeah, I was keeping his tank filled.
Yeah,
and which was cool for both of us. Win-win for both of us.
Yeah,
and one of my early goals back then was to get my driver's license back. I hadn't had a driver's license since I was 19, and at that time I was 34.
Yeah,
and awesome. I ended up saving $5,000. Making $10 an hour, working this job,
awesome,
waterproofing
bro.
job, and I ended up getting my license back. It took me $5,000. It took me over $5,000 actually, a little like $5,200 or something. Got my driver's license back. Met a girl in recovery. And mind you, I had never been in a relationship, not since I was like in high school, where I didn't use the woman for either sex, money, or drugs.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to have a healthy relationship. And met a girl, and I just let her know that, want to take it slow, but I don't want to jump into anything because of what my goals are. And, if you're with that, then great, you can come with me. But if not, then,
Right.
And I was kind of scared because I didn't know how to do a relationship sober.
Yeah.
But 10 months later, we ended up getting married, and moved in. We moved into. She had 2 daughters, so I didn't know how to be a stepfather sober. I'd try to play stepdad in the past, but in my addiction, but I didn't know how to do it sober. We moved in this 2-bedroom apartment, and me and my wife had a room. The 2 girls had their where they shared a room, and from there I got into barber school, and started. My dream was to become a barber because I'd cut hair in prison, and that was my hustle in prison, and I wanted to do something where I knew that someone would hire me even with my past. And barbering just seemed like it fit.
Right.
And also, I'm an artist at heart. To me, when someone sits down in my chair, it's like a canvas. I get to work on their head.
Yeah.
It's like art. And I went to barber school and continued, doing marriage. And it was probably about I want to say a couple months after me and my wife got married, she found out she was pregnant. And mind you, at this time I was 36 and never had no kids of my own. And so I was nervous.
Yeah.
And then a month later, she miscarried. And you talk about another thing that really, another catastrophe in life that really hit me. And man, I was hurt.
Yeah.
But a year after that, she found out she was pregnant again. And this time, it went through. Awesome. Yeah. But during that time, and a lot of people always want to know, can we take a break?
Yeah. Yes.
All this time, everybody wants. I just want to take a break real quick.
No, you're good. Are you good?
Yeah. Because we're about to get into the nitty gritty, and then
I know you're good. So, where does your content and all that you're because, when I see on Facebook, I'm like, man, this guy, it's awesome. Like he's doing it, you know what I'm saying? And so like, where does that step in? Like, I mean, cause you gotta like, that's gotta be a really amazing feeling to go from like earlier you said, no one wanted you, no one liked you, no one, you know what I'm saying? Like you was at that point where it was just like, no one was going to help you. And now you're to the point to where it's like, I don't know one person that wouldn't want to help you or be your friend or, you know what I'm saying? Like you've got millions of people that love you.
Right.
So where does that step in? Let's get into that. Like, I mean, that's the good stuff, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure. So the whole content creation, I never set out to be a content creator. Like I never sat down and said, man, I want to be a content creator. It was never my plan. But there's that old saying that tell God your plans and watch him laugh at you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want God to laugh at you, tell him your plans. My plan was to be a barber, have my own barbershop one day, maybe just something simple, have a few chairs and then upstairs have my office and maybe have like a studio like this where I could do maybe podcasts. But it never was to be content creator. It definitely wasn't never to be a comedian content creator. But looking back, I can see how that kind of all played a part into, becoming what I have become today. Because I always enjoyed making people laugh. I always enjoyed making people feel better, because we live in a fucked up world. There's so much division. There's so much hate. On both sides. There's so much, we are literally killing ourselves as a nation from the inside out.
Yeah.
And that's all people see, and I just enjoy taking, showing people that there's something else and bringing a light to, this world, so to speak, and making you laugh. I think that's the best medicine. So for me, it actually started out with a buddy of mine that I had met in sober living in 2020. He went to the same sober living house I did, and we just became really good friends, over that next 3 years from 2020 to 23. Right. And, my wife was, I want to say, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. She was about 7 months pregnant at this time. And we were living in our 2-bedroom apartment, and I was going to barber school. And a friend of mine that I was in recovery with had done this video, and I laughed at it on his Facebook because I was like, bro, let me I got some ideas. I think it'd be really good if we did something together, you know?
Yeah.
I love what you're trying to do, but I think us working together, it'd be funny because me and him were always clowning, whether it was in meetings, anywhere we went, we were clowns together.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, I think we'd work real well together. And so we had this idea where he was playing this. He came up with this reporter called Skip Tracer or some shit.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he had long hair, and he was like, so the idea was he was going to be like, I am going to present to y'all the best barber in Oklahoma City, and Bradley Spark. And then I was going to come, or Nemo. And then I was going to come up behind him, with scissors. And then he was going to show everyone. And then it was going to cut. I was going to do his haircut, and it was going to cut to the finished product.
Right.
But obviously nothing had been changed. And he was going to look at the camera and go, oh my God, that's an amazing haircut. And that was our idea for the very first skit. And I put that on Facebook, and everyone in the program, every one of our friends loved it. And they loved us working together. And I was right. We worked well together. Well, he had this idea. We were bouncing ideas back and forth. We were like, man, we got to do more. People loved it.
Yeah.
And he had this idea of being trappers, of trapping animals that did not exist with made up names. And we were going to be these trappers. Famous trappers, and we're going to call it Trap Masters.
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I didn't like the idea, but I said, man, I'm with it. We'll give it a try.
Whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah. And he's like, I got camo. So he said, my name's going to be Terry Don Jerry Dale Davis. 5 first names, right? And I was like, well, I just picked one name. If you got 5 first names, I'm gonna be your partner, and I'm just it's gonna be Jaquarius, and I don't know where the name just popped up, and I said Jaquarius, and we went to I got out of barber school that day and I drove straight to his house and we were in the kitchen and we did a pilot video and I was holding a knife that he gave me and I'd crossed my eyes and while he was talking and we had this idea that whenever he would talk, he would pass it to me and then I'd start talking and immediately he'd interrupt me because I was going off on this stupid ass rant.
Right.
And we did that and played it back and laughed our asses off. And I said, bro, let's do a video. I was like, go get that camo. So we put the camo on, we went in the backyard and we shot the very first video in one take. It was not scripted. And I posted it because we recorded it off TikTok and I posted it. Now, mind you, I didn't have a lot of followers and I posted on TikTok and
you was new to all of it anyway.
And I really just wanted to take the video off and I only wanted to use TikTok for the editing and I wanted to take the video off and put it on to Facebook for my friends.
Right.
I put it on Facebook and I went home. I remember I went home and I took a nap and I woke up like 2 hours later, hour and a half later or something. And my sister, and I got all these messages and my sister is like texting me and going, oh my God, that video that you just did. She's like, I'm dying laughing right now, Brad, dying. Me and Raider are sitting here. Raider's her husband. It's like we're sitting here crying, laughing.
That's
and
awesome.
then I look on Facebook and it's doing good. And I was like, holy crap. And I didn't even think about TikTok.
When you say good though, because we've been posting, what is that? Like what?
At that time, it was like 100 likes. You know what I'm saying?
But like immediately.
Well, not really immediately, but yeah, I mean, it probably went to 100 likes eventually.
Okay.
But
yeah.
it was on the way, like 40, 50.
Yeah.
And more than anything I'd ever posted in before. You know what I'm saying?
So there's a difference between because likes and views. Like how many views did it?
I don't know, sir. I didn't really pay attention to views, and
Because the
don't.
likes were more important, right?
To me, a lot of people,
No, it is. No, right. You're right. I mean, it is.
Right, and a lot of people look at views. I still don't.
Right.
But I mean, but there's also I've learned that there's a view to like ratio. So if you get at least 10% of your views in likes, then it's good. You're doing good.
Gotcha.
But I didn't know all that then. I was so green and so naive to social media or content creating in general.
Right.
I wake up the next morning and something told me just open up your TikTok. And mind you, I wasn't caring about posting it to TikTok. Well, I wake up the next morning, I open up TikTok and it's got 20,000 views and 2,200 likes. And I freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, and I
That's gotta be like a crazy feeling, man.
And I text Bruce and I'm like, hey bro, we just hit. I said, bro, we got magic in a bottle. We just hit. So now we do skit and we call it part 2, part 3, and we're just doing the funny skits, right?
Right, yeah.
And he had made his character, I had made my character, and we brought it together. Yeah. And we worked like peanut butter and jelly. Well, my character always talked about how he loved his mom. And he loved his mom to death, and I kept hearing that damn Morgan Wallen song, "What's going on, mama? Something just dawned on me." I thought, and I seen in my head Jaquarius lip syncing that, and I was like, this would be hilarious. And I ran it by him, and he didn't like the idea of lip syncing at all. And I was like, bro, I think it's gonna be funny. I said, you know what? How about Jaquarius lip syncs it, and you be in the background just shaking your head like,
why is he doing that?
Yeah,
I think I've seen something like that.
Like, come on, no, we did that. It was more.
Yeah.
That video, we did that. That video hit more than every other skit that we ever did put together.
Yeah.
So the lip syncing was a hit. So he had the idea to do the skits. My idea was to do lip syncing, and we brought that together. And eventually we would do one skit and one song a week, and that was kind of like, because we were both still working. I was working and going to school.
Right.
And so I had very little time, but I was like, we can do at least 2 videos a week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Every lip syncing song that we did, the next thing we did was Tupac and Snoop Dogg. After that, we did Jodeci. Was going super duper viral. Everything. And I mean, blowing our skits out of the water. Our skits didn't even stand a chance compared to the lip syncing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, blowing our skits out of the water. Our skits didn't even stand a chance compared to the lip syncing. And, I mean, blowing our skits out of the water. Our skits didn't even stand a chance compared to the lip syncing. And, I mean, blowing our skits out of the water. Our skits didn't even stand a chance compared to the lip syncing. And, because and the comments were coming in like, this cross-eyed dude is so on point. I did not expect this cross-eyed dude to be so on point with the rapping and
Right.
and the way we
Right.
went together, it was literally
That's
like
what's
peanut butter
awesome,
and
yeah.
jelly. We
Yeah.
really went well together.
Yeah,
We worked
no,
well
yeah,
together.
yeah.
He would be right here beside me in the background, just in his ad libs. He was so good at ad libs. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And he would listen for sounds that people don't even hear or recognize is in the song until we start lip syncing it, and then bam, he'll hit them, and we blew up. And I mean, when I say it was magic in a bottle, it was magic in a bottle. And we started doing local shows around Oklahoma City, like at dispensaries and little dive bars.
Yeah.
And I had the idea to do merch, and he thought it would be cool and I said, and the way I spelled Trap Masters out with a 3
Yeah.
was, my idea, but then he had the idea to put a trap, like a bear trap underneath it. And then, so I sent his idea and my idea together to a guy that makes logos, and he made that logo for me, and I had a bunch of shirts pressed.
Yeah.
I spent, I think I spent $500-$600. Like I spent all my money on these shirts,
Right.
because I believed in what we had.
Right. Yeah.
And then we'd do these local shows, and we would sell the merch, and whatever money we made from the merch, we would pick up other opportunities out of state, and then we would use that money to rent. We would take a rental car, buy a rental car for like a week,
Awesome.
and we would pack it full of camping supplies. So our first trip was to North Carolina, and we packed it full of camping supplies, and we just took off on this 17-hour trip, and we just drove until we got tired, and then we would Google the nearest state park, and we would camp out, and then we'd keep driving.
That's
Literally,
awesome.
we're
You
driving.
doing stuff while you're camping? Like,
Doing videos while
While
we're
you're
camping.
camping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
And
Yeah.
you talk about like, I really missed that time because it was back then it was so wholesome.
Yeah.
This is before the jealousy and before the animosity came in, before the motherfuckers in your ear came in, talking this, because when you start getting that big in content creation, it takes the purity out of it and the wholesomeness out of it, and people start getting in your ear like, you can do this, and they all want a piece of you.
Right.
And both of us like had big hearts, like we didn't necessarily like asking for too much of what, but we also didn't understand the business side of it. And so during Trap Masters lasted 11 months, and during that time we only ever broke even. There towards the end we started making money off our reels and stuff, but you don't on social media. It's hard to make money off of lip syncing videos because it's copyrighted music.
Right.
And you're not getting paid for copyrighted music.
Right.
So the only thing we could make money off of was like when we would do skits or when we would do shows. And during this time, Bruce was doing this character called Captain Isosceles on his own solo page, and he had been doing it the whole time during Trap Masters. And he was getting like little opportunities to go to fishing trips and stuff because his character's a fisherman. He's a captain on a captain boat or something. And I was always like, hell yeah, man, this what's up. He's going on this fishing trip. And I was like, man, that's awesome, bro. Or he would have a video that would go viral, a solo video that would go viral on his Instagram. And I'd be like, man, that's what's up, bro.
Right, yeah.
And I was always just, cheering my boy on. And it was there about December of 23 or January 24, he went out of town to work. And I had the idea to do a solo idea, and this is where I introduced my character Chaz Dawson. This is his first episode.
Right.
And I had this idea to do Chaz Dawson interviewing myself, about my character Jaquarius, and like, how do you play?
Right.
How do you stay cross-eyed for that long? How do you not blink? Just
right.
And Chaz Dawson's just this fucking arrogant dumbass reporter with a smile on his face all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I did this video and it hit. and it hit a lot of views and a lot of likes, and then I started doing other solo stuff. Mind you, Bruce had been doing solo stuff the whole time.
Right.
I was all about just Trap Masters. And but I had the idea that I was like, bro, we should both be posting solo stuff also, but not just solo stuff, but we should come up with other skits too, not just Trap Masters. You know, let's keep doing Trap Masters because that's the bread and butter.
Yeah.
But we could be the next Key and Peele. That was my plan.
Right.
And after I had a few solo ones, man, he felt some type of way about it, and I could really sense it. You know that the jealousy and the animosity. You know, he ain't never gonna admit that shit, but I could sense it. And he always had motherfuckers in his ear. I'm not gonna say who, but he always,
right. Well, yeah, I mean that's
out of respect for them. But he calls or he messages me. He's like, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And this is like 10 at night, and I'm like, about what, bro? He's like, when I get back in town, I need to talk to you. I was like, now you can talk to me right now. What is it? You know? And I don't get no response until the next morning, and I wake up to this long paragraph where he says, I think you're just trying to make Trap Masters a one-man show. I don't like that you try to control everything. And what he meant by controlling everything was I had all the merch made. I'm the one that had the website made. I had the bank accounts opened up for our monetization.
I was controlling everything.
Well,
but you needed to though.
Well, the reason why I was because every time I'd ask him, he would say, "Nah, you go ahead and take care of it."
Right.
He didn't
but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but he didn't want to be a part of the fucking headache part of it.
Right.
You know, the making the website, setting up the merch, designing the merch online, even. You know, setting up shows, like getting answering messages for opportunities that we would get to where we would do like famous people's songs and they would pay us. He didn't want to deal with none of that. You know what I'm saying? He felt like he was the talent and that wasn't part of his job.
Right.
Fine, I'll handle that. And we were still splitting the money 50-50.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So controlling everything, no, bro. I offered for you to come in and help me, but you didn't want to be a part of it.
Everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah, but he didn't want to be a part of that part of it because that's the ugly part of it. Right. That's the part nobody likes to do. And so he went on that rant about that, and then he said, Trap Masters is over. And then he said, the only thing I ask is that you don't talk shit about me on the internet. And I was like, okay. You know, I didn't want to go solo.
Right.
He did. Fine. You know, you can't make another man do something that he don't want to do.
Right.
I mean, it hurt because I'd put all my eggs in one basket, and to watch it just crumble like that hurt. And not only that, we were really good friends. It wasn't just like I'd gotten big with this guy that I didn't even know. No, we were fucking really good friends before this. Right. And so it wasn't only that ending, it was a friendship ending.
Yeah.
And it was ending over jealousy, animosity, and, you know, ultimately something that was confusing. You know what I'm saying? It was confusion in the sense that he was mad for the wrong reasons. You know, well, whatever. I'm not going to talk shit about you on the internet, bro. You got my word.
Yeah.
About a month later, I did a video with just Jaquarius lip syncing. Yeah. And next thing I know is I see his Facebook post, and it goes on this long ass rant about I started Trap Masters and you're trying to fucking steal the idea from me. You're just a piece of shit and blah, 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 blah. Mind you, I'm not, for one, I invented Jaquarius. I took Jaquarius, my character, and I did a fucking solo, and I did a video with him, and I posted it on my platforms. So I'm not stealing nothing, and I'm not calling it Trap Masters. You're right, Trap Masters is dead. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't invent Trap Masters. We invented Trap Masters. We brought ideas together.
Right.
I made my character, you made your character, and we brought them together. You you had the idea for the skits. I had the idea for the lip syncing, and we brought it together.
Yeah.
You didn't fucking start Trap Masters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to start no beef on the internet, but you brought it. You drew first blood, so it is what it is.
Right.
And you know, we went on like that for a little bit, and then about 11 months later, his dad died, and he inherited a whole bunch of money and shitload of money, and then moved to Texas, bought some land, bought some vehicles, and moved out of the city, which I was happy about because I knew eventually we were going to run into each other, and I knew it was going to be bad. So I just didn't want it to ever get to that point, because eventually I think amends will be made in the future, and I think if it would have made it to that point, it would have got way uglier than what it needed to be.
Yeah.
So I was happy for him, man. I was kind of sad about. I did make a post telling how it kind of sucks how it ended, and that I was sorry about his dad, and I had reached out to him to tell him, man, I'm sorry about you losing your father, but I was happy that he got inherited a lot of money and was able to build a good life in Texas from it. I don't wish any animosity. I don't wish nothing bad on him. What we built was beautiful, and it had its time and it ran its course, and my plan was never to go solo, but looking back, I can see that was a blessing in disguise, really, that, a lot of stuff that I've done afterwards, not only have I've quadrupled my following since then, and built these other characters and these other personalities, but I've been able to also reach the lost through my messages of hope and recovery.
Yes.
And that was something that he really didn't like me talking too much about on the platform.
Right.
Because he just wanted to keep it strictly comedy. My whole idea was like, no, this is where I've come from, and there's a lot of hopeless people scrolling, looking to laugh, awesome. But they're also looking for hope, man. And if they can see someone like you that did it,
it's awesome.
That gives them the hope that they can do it.
I love it. Yeah.
And so yeah, man, that eventually turned into what I do now as far as being solo, and since being solo, I've gotten to do so much cool stuff, and I got so much cool stuff coming up that I'm doing.
Yeah, like come to Kentucky.
Hey, Kentucky's cool, man. I'm Kentucky. Hey, however bad of a rap they get, Kentucky is beautiful. Like that's the one thing I've noticed about it here is like Arkansas too. So Arkansas gets a bad rap, like, oh, you're sleeping with your cousin, blah blah blah, incest. Right. But these are some beautiful ass states, man. Yeah. Kentucky and man, when we were driving to Louisville, I couldn't just help just looking. Yeah. And
we got some content we're gonna be doing here in Kentucky. So.
Oh yeah, tomorrow, guys. We are shooting some funny stuff tomorrow. I can't.
Yes, we are. Yeah. But man, I tell you, and I didn't know him, and it's an awesome story. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that happened to y'all. And y'all was great. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about him because when I watched y'all, like I said, I've watched you from the very beginning, and both of y'all did good. You know, and you did collaborate very good. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, man, you've tripled because it's not that he was bad, but like you just opened a door that needed to be open, honestly. And you're heading to the moon, and not only are you heading to the moon in the wrong way or anything like that, you're doing what you want to do. You're bringing up recovery. You're helping people, and to me, you're open to be able to do that more now because it's just you. And I think to be honest with you, bro, you are following God's plan now more than you was even with him.
Yeah.
Because
and that's the thing. Like I don't have anything bad to say about him either. When I speak, about the situation. I'm just speaking the truth. But I do want to say that I love him to death. I love Bruce to death.
It's awesome.
He's a funny ass dude. He's so talented. He is so genius in his own way. He really is. And all the good things that I want in life, I wish that for him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wholeheartedly.
And that's the way you're supposed to be. And so, and to me, it makes you a bigger man to just, to put something aside like that. A lot of people can't. And that's another thing. You teach people how to, overcome recovery and stuff like that. But you're also teaching people that, things can happen between friends or someone, and it's not that big of a deal to just drop it, let it go, forgive them, wish them the best, and move on.
Well, when things happen like that in life, it's like, how much do you trust God?
Right.
Seriously, when things happen out of your control, it's going to really show you how much do you trust God. And you're going to be tested in that moment to how you react to that situation that is going to determine how much you trust God.
It's crazy. Well, Bradley, man, I tell you what, this was beyond awesome. Like, I loved every minute. In fact, I'm loving every minute of this whole weekend that we're having together.
Yeah, we've been having fun. It's been a blast.
I mean, getting up, going to the gym, hitting the gym. I mean, that's just, to me, it's awesome, bro. I mean, you know.
Yeah, we're going to hit legs in the morning before we shoot content.
Right. And I'm loving it. I'm ready. Like, the power that you get, bro, it's just awesome.
And I just want to shout out Better Together Recovery. I want to shout out my wife, Carly, our beautiful daughters. When I was sitting in that cell and I was, thinking about all the people, when I was still in my addiction, I was thinking about all the people that I went to high school with that have all those things, and looking at today, I have those things.
Yeah.
But the greatest thing I have today is that I no longer wake up with the desire to drink or use.
Yeah.
And that right there beats it all.
It's awesome. And I love how you bringing your daughter into the mix a little bit.
Yeah, she's been doing content with me. So my daughter's wild. She's she'll be 3 April 22nd.
We're definitely looking to see more of her.
Oh yeah, she's going to be. I got to get her to calm down though, because when I can get her to take instruction a little better, she's like me, bro.
She's a kid.
She's ADHD and she's just wild, and maybe she's not ADHD. I don't know. I don't want to put that on her, but she's definitely me through and through.
Yeah. So. Well, Bradley, man, it was really, really nice having you on, man.
And I really
appreciate this, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, bro.
Like, okay. Men's mental health. Has anybody asked you if you're okay?
No.
I went to jail for the first time when I was 10.
Ask yourself,
okay.
Yeah, are you okay? Ask yourself, are you okay? You gotta be careful because that snake will get you.
First band I was in, I was 16 years old.
It's a lot of heartbreak, a lot of misdirection.
Right.
Drug use gets worse, gets better, gets worse, gets better, gets way worse.
My brother quit.
Just quit cold turkey.
Cold turkey.
Drugs and alcohol wasn't a problem. I was the problem.